Legion is just correct. I have no idea how else to put this. Hey, I'm Cyclon, and over the weekend I ran 96 Legion cemeteries, and the results have been insane. By the way, I actually run the maps live on Twitch, as I'm going to start streaming a bit more regularly now. I will at least try to achieve streaming regularly, but I can't guarantee it yet. I'm going to stream, or plan to stream, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you're interested, come over to the stream and say hello, and if not, of course, also understandable. Let's take a look at this. So, rerun Legion cemeteries, and rerun them in high investment. Now, actually, high investment isn't that much more expensive than low investment. If we take a look at the spreadsheet here, normal investment legions cost us about 26 chaos per map, as the high investment legion only costs 37 chaos per map. Now, this is only 11 chaos more per map, and that is not a whole lot. However, it does require our character to be twice as strong as it needs to be for normal legions, because we're going to use Gilded Legion Scope, which means we are guaranteed to have generals, and we are using the Splinters and Emblem duplicated Sextant, which means our generals and all other Legion enemies, including the tanky rares, have double health. So as normal Legion, let's say just a decent character with like a few million DPS is enough. For high investment, we likely need at least 10 million damage to consistently full clear the legions, but if you can achieve that on your character, you're good to go on the strategy and the results will be insane. Again, we're going to get to the actual numbers later, but as you can already see on the spreadsheet, the numbers do look really good. Okay, so we have our Gilded Legion Scarabs, we have polished Harbinger Scarabs. I don't think Gilded Harbinger Scarab is worth it. It's been a lot of interest on that for the magic finding builds, or magic finding strategies rather. So we're going to stick with polished. There is half as expensive as Gilded, and we can still get most out of it. Gilded is just one additional Harbinger. It isn't that much of an impact. And then we're going to use Rusted Sulfite Scarabs for additional speed. And we have an optional choice of using Rusted Divination Scarabs to get that little bit more divination cards out of our map, having a slightly more consistent rate of Brother's Gift or potentially Brother's Stashes, which isn't as good, but still okay to get. As for our Sextants, we are going to use the Legion Sextant, combining of course with the Splinter Emblem Duplicate Sextant, and then we're using the Harbinger Sextant. I did run with Beyond on my Sextants, however, Beyond wasn't actually that much of an impact. Beyond gave me a few tainted chromatics, a few tainted fusings, a few tainted mythics, and overall I think Beyond made about plus minus 0, maybe a tiny bit plus, but it wasn't really much of an impact, and it isn't really something you need to run on your maps if you don't like Beyond. Instead, I'm going to give you a few options when we get now to the tree. However, very quickly first, this is a search for Chaos for Polished and Gilded Legion Scarabs. And if we take a look here, I just clicked search, and as you can see, Gilded go for in bulk. These are bulk sellers. About 6 to 7 Chaos and then quickly going to 8. However, polished ones are going starting at 8, going very quickly to 9. At the moment of this recording, polished Legion Scarabs are more expensive than Gilded Legion Scarabs. Just let it sink in for a moment. So this means that we are already going high investment, but we are cheaper than low investment on the Scarabs. It's just really funny in my opinion. Anyway, let's take a look at this tree. So we have a few options. What is locked in is getting most of the Legion. We don't really need this small node. We don't need the general nodes because we are guaranteeing the generals with the Gilded Legion Scarab. And we don't need more Karui, Wall, and Eternal Empire armies. Now in my runs, I actually got over 80 Templar emblems. How many was it actually? Here's the actual number. 86 Templar and only 54 Maracas emblems. So those are quite a few more. They do sell solo about 1 to 16 per divine. So 1 divine for 16 Templar emblems. So they do sell, so it isn't an issue that you get more. But if you want to get a balanced set, eventually you will need to get spec out of this node. Once until your Maracas have catched up, then you can spec into the node and get more Templar and Maracas. Then, of course, after the Legion nodes, we also want all the Harbinger stuff. Harbinger is really good. We need the tiny nodes to get more shards. More shards means more chances at the fracturing shard. And the fracturing shard is the big ticket item. Then we're taking the map sustain, because we can sell the maps very easily. Or we can just use them and we have a bigger pool. So in later strategies where we might not have as good of a map sustain, we then already have a pool of maps saved up. And as for blocking, we're blocking everything except Legion and Delirium Mirror. Now here's the first optional choice. You can spec into this node that which you seek to get a lot more consistent daily mirrors, which are just 3 additional profit. You can get daily orbs that sell for about 8C in bulk. You can get cluster jewels, and you can get random rewards. For example, I got the Samurai's Eye as a random reward from the daily mirrors. And then we have a few more other optional choices. I opted in for the Rusted Sulfite Scarab for the additional speed with packed with energy and with mining byproducts. And the mining byproducts will always cover your expenses on your rusted sulfide scarabs by selling 1 socket resonators. It's always just going to cover it. However, if you aren't a big fan of sulfide and you don't want to buy the mining byproducts, you don't want the azurite, you don't want to interact with the delving, that's fine. Or if you don't need the movement speed from packed with energy, you have an alternative that is actually maybe even a bit more profit, but you're going to have a slightly longer maps. Instead of going for these nodes, you could go for Bestiary, Great Migration, and to go for Hunt of Krakean in Natural Selection, and just run Einha instead. With Einha, you're going to get some Split Beast and some Imprint Beast, Split Beast. They do sell for a good amount, so this will just be your free additional gains for the small cost of using rusted or polished Bestiary Scarabs. Or you could further spec into Beyond, having these Beyond nodes, or going down here to get not Scent of Blood, to go for the additional Beyond experience, if you really want experience, that is. So you can go a bit further into Beyond. There's just a tiny bit of flexibility in this thread, which is always nice to have, because this means you can adjust it to your preferences. But anyway, so those for the additional variances to the thing. This is a tree that I've actually going to add it to this to here. So if you click on this, this is the tree that you're getting, and of course you can then make your adjustments. So with this re-established, we're having about a 37C cost, and now let's take a look at the potential returns and then at my actual results. So we are going to look here first. Just based on consistent drops, things that we are going to get partially or fully every map. We're going to get a few stacked decks every map. You're going to get Chaos Orbs every map. Of course, this is considering that you're using Incubators. We're going to get Exalted Orbs, Annulment Orbs, Ancient Orbs, Fracturing Orbs, or well, Fracturing Shards that eventually get to Orbs. We're going to get Templar Emblems, Maracas Emblems, and we're going to get ridiculous map sustain. So this all will already guarantee us a 2 divine profit per hour, assuming you take 5 minutes per map. Now, some people with just a bit weaker builds going to take 6 minutes per map, but if your build is, for example, my lightning arrow in a focused setup, when I'm not streaming on the side, when I'm focusing on what I'm running, I'm going to be looking at 3 to 4 minute maps. That is very quickly, but this is again on a focus. On a more casual approach, 4 to 5 minutes. If I'm talking with chat and in the stream, I actually took 6 minutes. So I'm going to cover the results of each of these reps, 4, 5, and 6 minutes. So in 5 minutes, 2 divines base profit. On 6 minute maps, it's still 1.7 divines. So even if you're a bit weaker, maybe, of course, then the Legion and Harbinger not on high investment is more your niche. But anyway, if you're doing this and you take 6 minutes per map, you're still looking at 1.79 base profit. Of course, if you're a bit faster, if you're a bit stronger, we're looking at 2.69 divines base profit. But now, if we're also going to add Divine Orbs and Brother's Gift drops on top of this. And to note here, the Divine Orbs are going to be mostly from Incubators and chests. I think most of them I've gotten from chest, and a few of them I've gotten from Incubators, and only a very tiny amount of them were from mob drops. And I ran with 0 quantity on my character, and I just chisel all walled my maps. So I didn't have any additional quantity. If your character has additional quantity and run the strategy, you're going to find more Divine Orbs, you're going to find more lucky uniques, or just maybe also more Brother's Gifts. Just to note on that. But anyway, assuming my 12 Divine Orbs, then calculate down to per map, a 0.1 per map, so every about 10, every about 13 maps, you're going to get a Divine Orb. That is fairly decent. And also you're going to get some Brother's Gift sooner or later, which also is going to add up. So with those Divine Orbs and Brother's Gift, we are already looking at a 4.9 divine profit per hour. And this is not including some other potential drops we can get, which I get to in a bit. Now we are looking at 4.9 divines. This is in a 5 minutes per map. So let's say, okay, it's 6 minutes per map. Then we are only looking at 4 divines, but still 4 divines if you're running this slowly. And this is still the stable profit part. Or well, somewhat stable. It's inconsistent, but it's still something you can expect to get. And if we run a bit faster, well, then we're looking at 6 divines. And 6 divines is nothing to scoff at. especially at this point into the league. But we're going to miss the average. Let's put this at 5 divines, and we assume 4.95 divines per hour. And now we get to my results. And my results have been pretty damn amazing. Now, I do have the notable drop section, and I need to note here, my notable drop section has mostly just been my sellings from Beyond, my sellings from the, one socket resonators, and selling from bubblegum currency that wasn't already included in consistent or inconsistent drops. So those are most of mine. However, I did got one unique that I was able to sell for 3 divines after I corrupted it. So I assume in 96 maps, you're going to get either one of the following: a decent synthesized item, a decent fracturing item, a decent unique with corrupt, or a decent unique with well-rolled items. If you get any of these 4, and that's just worth a few divines, you already have very similar results to mine. For example, you get something like this, which I haven't included in the profit. I haven't sold this, so I haven't included it in the profit. I'm going to use these myself, actually. This is a T1 fractured base. So if you have bases that are decent bases, for example, Dragon Scale Boots, or Battle Lamella, or Spine Bows, and get a decent fractured on it, you already have a few divines worth of items. So, for example, these boots are 2 divines. Now, identifying fractured item takes some time. If you have a strict filter and only shows the really good bases, it is still worth your time. Or if you get an interesting synthesized item, which I haven't sold it is not included in the profit. You also have the chance to get a few divines for it. And lastly, of course, there are things like uniques. For example, I got the Archon Cheat-Sheet, I forgot the name of it. The one that Aura bots use with blood magic on it, but isn't actually increasing the reservation efficiency, or well, reducing the reservation efficiency of the auras. It's a Prism Guardian, that's the name. I got a Prism Guardian, and I actually corrupted it to +2 AoE gems, so +2 to socketed auras, and that sold for 3 divines. And this is the only high unique item actually included in the profit, and everything else was from stable drops or from the one Dragon's Heart that I got dropped. So with this, we are already looking at 5 minutes map at 6.5 divines. Now, if, again, I was a bit slow on my stream, so at 6 minutes, still on 6 minutes, I was looking at 5.49 divines per hour. That's almost 5.5 divines an hour. And that is a really good thing, because on a profit per map basis, I looked at over 100 chaos per map, which is, at this point in the league, absolutely ridiculous good. And this is on a consistent basis. Of course, there's apothecary farming. Of course, apothecary farming makes a lot of money if you're getting lucky, that is. But this is almost guaranteed profit. Of course, you do need to get somewhat lucky, but getting a 3 divine item and getting a 40 divine div card, or 50 or divine, or where apothecary is now, is a huge difference. And then, of course, if you're going to run efficiently and fast, well, then we're looking back to our 8 divines profit. And that is really amazing for a consistent strategy. At this point in the league, I think we're on month 2 now, 8 divines profit, just really, really good. So if you are in doubt and you need currency, just run Legion, just use Incubators. It is really good and is really powerful. As for Incubators, actually, I haven't mentioned this yet in a video. So I'm going to do a quick incubator calculation. Alright, assuming you're going to use Ornate and Diviner's Incubator. So Ornate is giving currency and Diviners are giving stack decks. The stack deck Incubators give in a set of 10 about 30 stack decks. In bulk, stack decks sell 94 to a divine. So 30 stack deck Incubators, so 30 divine Incubators, so 3 sets of these Incubators are almost a divine. And the ornate ones, in my experience, 85 ones and 83 ones, in 1 in 5, if you use a combination of 83 and 85s, in 1 in 5 map or 1 in 5 sets, you're going to get a divine. Those divines and those stack decks are going to stack up very quickly. And this is nothing to scoff at. Don't skip Incubators, always use Diviners and use Ornate Incubators. They are just that good. If you don't have any, is to overbridge the gap. And when you're not using incubators, you can always use Garguran or foreboding incubators to get at least a tiny bit out of them. But that much is that said, that much is what interesting. So if you have any more questions, oh wait, actually, I forgot to show my results. I apologize for that, because my results, my actual numbers, this is after selling the things, what I've actually in my stash and 2 on my hand right now. 18 divines to cover the cost. Okay, cost is covered. What is the actual profit? 48 divines and 5 divines in chaos is 53 divines profit in 96 maps. This is more than half a divine per map. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is super good, and Legion is correct. You can't convince me otherwise. Legion is just that good of a league mechanic. All that being said, now, if I've left anything out, if anything is unclear, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me down in the comment section, over on Discord, over PMs on Discord. You can ask me in-game, or of course, now that I'm trying to regularly stream, when I'm live, you can also ask me on Twitch in chat. And again, I'm going to be live on Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All that being said, hopefully you had a great time, and all that. Have a wonderful day, and a lot of fun for the rest of the league. Goodbye.